before he was the Prime Minister in Old Harbor to function in New York, in Queens. And he was saying that between Old Harbor and Maypen, that is going to be the greatest region of growth in Jamaica in terms of housing and population. And my question is, those regions there is flatlands, good prime agricultural lands. Who has the vision of the country have hard to know yet? Certain places you do not build houses, you set it up for farmlands and whatsoever you can do. So I really I don't know what to say. I don't really think the people really care. I think the quality of leadership on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 3. We need some female leaders with good vision. And I'm not talking about no campaign leadership. I'm talking about vision for the country, for women and children, and progress to be made. Because I'm sick and tired of the politicians now. Because they're, on a scale of 1 to 10, we give them a 1.
I have a question for you there, Peter. Because the GMP is in power right now, but of course the PNP believes they can do a better job. Do you think, and you could say I'm playing the devil advocate, do you think the PNP has a plan in place to win the election and to come in and to do a better job, or at least try to save Jamaica from Jamaicans? What do you think about that? Give me your opinion on that.
My opinion, not knowing much about the guy, and based on...
You're talking about Mark Golden, right?
Yes,
okay.
Based on historical context, same old, same old.
Okay, so you don't think he has the wherefore or the knowledge or the...
As the Bible says, where there is no vision, our people perish.
So you don't think he has a vision for the leadership? So you think he's the wrong leader for his party?
Put it this way.
Listen to the woman government.
Okay.
So listen, the way me see it, these guys just go into self-aggrandizement and full their pocket. They don't care about the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it, personally speaking. I might very much be wrong, but that's the way I see it.
Well, we look for solutions, because I don't think the GLP is having too much. The only thing I see Andrew Holmes doing, he built a house here and there and quiet the people. And of course, they have a little get-together, and give out free food and quiet the people. But then behind the scenes, so people still suffering.
That is, again, coming from a case of, say, ignorance and people hungry.
Yes.
And it was reported prior to 60s Jamaica getting independence that they were saying 70% of the people are malnourished.
Yes.
In spite of the fact that it's a country of land, of wood, and water. So
it's unfortunate.
I don't even know what to say no more, because I don't even know what to say. The quality of leadership and the vision that we have is not there. I'm hoping so some female leaders will come ahead, but then again, we had a couple of females and it was not really ready neither.
Okay, so we have another caller on the line. Caller, go ahead, you're live.
Yeah. It's very right, man. They need new leader. Then we don't need those people. That thing, it's been going on. It's been going on for decades. Jamaica been doing this for decades. Treat the people right. They don't treat the people right. I said to Mr. President, I said, remember the tune of Jimmy Sim sing decades ago, said, treat you right. Because you might sitting on a bomb. And this is what happened now. It's going on for decades. It doesn't matter what one of them, but we need new leaders who care about people and take care of the people in Jamaica. Then these people are down there, they're not criminals. Every one of them will say, down there right now, them is criminals. I'm telling you that. It's been going on for decades. We need to stop.
You can't tell me. You can't tell me.
It's so happening.
Dad, question for you. Can you tell me? I moved to Old Harbor in 1980s, and from my living in Jamaica, I moved here. Every year, over 1,000 persons get killed. Something is wrong with that equation. Something is seriously wrong with that equation.
Okay. All right. So I hear two people on the line. Caller, thank you so very much for your input. You're correct. It's been happening for a while. And this is why the guys are mobilizing. Guys and girls that are part of the Dirty 30 are mobilizing so that we can let Jamaica know. So I'm just going to hang the phone up with you, caller, but thank you so much for your input. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. So, you know, in addition to what's been going on over the past weekend, and like I said to you guys, don't forget that we are still having the Diaspora Conference, the first biennial Diaspora Conference. It's running all the way until June the 19th. You can catch it online on YouTube on the Reason with Rattigan show. So if you want to watch it, it starts at 7 o'clock. It's from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. They're dissecting different things that's happening on the island, coming up with some solutions, because we want the diaspora to know what's happening and we want them to be a part of the solution. All we're trying to do here, and like I said, this is not a political agenda. All we're trying to do is stop the crime, the violence, the corruption, improve our education, improve our health care in the island. So I also have another caller coming in. So caller, go ahead, you're live.
Yes, good evening. I just a little part of what's going on in terms of you guys are relating to the political activities going on in Jamaica. And I sat here, I just laughed because I think you guys got it all wrong, You keep saying the government, but the people really want to change. Right? Because Jamaica
that's a very good question.
Too,
The people got to want to change.
Your labor right. And I don't know if any of you have ever been involved in any political activities in Jamaica. I have, right? And I can categorically state that you would bring, like for example, let me just use this as an example. You have a road to fix, right? And just because it's not the current party that you are supporting is in power, and you living in a street and you oppose to the road fix because you say, oh, Labour live over there, so PNP live over there, so we don't fix the road. And people, all right, for example, if you don't give out the scarce benefit and all them stuff, something there, people don't vote for you. It's what the people want. What does it take? I'm going to show you what it takes to be a member of parliament in Jamaica, right? All right, let's say, for example, you're living in an era and you have the matter of people. Listen, I can give you road work. Then push you up to be a councillor. And you have two little man who are cinema done or gunman. You just give them two guns. And you say, listen, I want to be a member of parliament. And you gather some other people and get them in, and everybody on the bandwagon. That's what it takes. And then push you, boom, you're a member of parliament. You start control big money now, and you start control certain something. It's what the people want.
Okay.
It's not about no politician.
Okay.
I know woman leader. Because I hear the caller that moderator talking about woman leader. Have you ever been back to Jamaica and checked with the police department and see the statistics how much women involved in criminality? Some of the leading gangs, they are involved in the crime rate, the surge of crime rate that is going on. So don't tell about a woman leader. You go and check the statistics.
Okay, so
right? On the ground now.
Completely understand. We're not saying women are not criminals, because one of the things that we had identified several months ago was that a lot of the crime that took place in Jamaica is either done by a woman or caused by a woman. What Peter is saying is that women think differently than men, and that may be the change that we need right now. I 100% agree with you regarding the people. I was actually gonna say all you need to do to win an election is bring a bag of rice. Because I remember in the days in Jamaica where political time will come, people start giving out people stuff and they get their votes. Yes. But at what point as a country and at what point as a people, and that's what I said earlier, what happened in Washington on Saturday, you have people going to protest to get the information out about what's happening to Jamaica. And then you had the counter protests that were across the street screaming, treasony, PNP send you, and they made it a political thing. Our culture needs to change. Granted, our people need to change. They need to get educated when you're voting. The mindset needs to change. And you do have people willing to make a change, but they're fearful. So that's why sometimes members of the diaspora may have to speak for those on the island, because people on the island are afraid if they speak up, will they survive that conversation? Will their family survive that conversation? It's not going to change overnight, but we have to etch away at, they say eat an elephant one bite at a time. This is the one bite at a time. Go ahead, Peter.
I'm saying that if people are so poor that they have to rely on a politician to get them a bag of flour or some saltfish for you to vote for them for the next 5 years, then our mentality and our way of thinking is very low, because that has something to do with poverty, the way you think. All right, me give you a bag of rice and a sugar, and you vote for me, and then everything else is going on. Yes, sir.
I don't want to narrow down this thing to narrow this thing down to quote unquote so-called poor people, because they are not the problem, I have moved around educated guys, right?
Depends on what you mean by education.
But it's true, it's correct.
Depends what you mean by education, sir. Sir.
But anyway, I'm just trying to say to you that the majority of the so-called intellectual people in Jamaica, those are the ones who are fueling the fire.
That's exactly
it's not about poor people, because majority of poor people want change. Not every Jamaican jumping on bag of rice thing. I don't want to put on that narrative as if, Jamaicans vote for bag of rice. People vote, like for example, let me tell you a councillor what his intention is, right? To secure certain contracts. And then the member of parliament push the councillor and instead of hiring people who are well-to-do to do the job, everybody have a intake. And it's a big man, and them push those things. Who give out the guns in Jamaica? Now move from politicians where a big doctor and them say, make sure them money have them strapped.
Okay.
You understand me? Them come, yeah, of course.
Caller point well taken. Listen, I have two calls, and your call is very important. I have two calls on the line, because we had a cardiologist that wanted to speak, but I see that Mr. Rattigan is also on the line. So Dr. Waldo, if you can hold on for me. Mr. Rattigan, I'm going to give you the mic. Caller, I'm going to hang up if you don't mind. Thank you so much for your input. Truly appreciate it. Continue being a wonderful and loyal listener. Mr. Rattigan, go ahead, sir. Diaspora conference that's going on tonight. I did tell them they can listen to it live on Reason with Rattigan tonight at 7 p.m. to see what's going on. And I've been talking about what you guys did, the amazing job that you guys did in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. So thank you so much for calling me back. I actually have Dr. Waldo also on the phone. So if you're done, Mr. Rattigan, I'm just going to hang you up, because I really wanted the community to hear about what's going on with men's health, and we have a cardiologist. So thank you so much for calling in. I'll be listening to you tonight. So you can go ahead and hang up. You're welcome. So ladies and gentlemen out in Radio Land, as I was trying to say, it is Juneteenth, Caribbean History Month, and it is also Men's Health Awareness Month. So I have, when you think about it, men typically do not get seen and get preventative medicine like women do. And cardiac disease affects men, and I wanted to have an expert on the air today to talk to you about cardiac health. So Dr. Waldo, are you still there? You are live on the air. Thank you so much. So let me just officially introduce Dr. Waldo. Well, I'm going to be biased with my introduction, and then he can tell you the rest about himself. So Dr. Waldo is a cardiologist here in Palm Beach County. Dr. Waldo is a Jamaican. Dr. Waldo is a Clarendonian. And Dr. Waldo is a proud alumni of the illustrious Clarendon College. Press star, Ipractar to all my Clarendon College homeboys and girls out there. This is one of our very own. Dr. Oral Waldo is a cardiologist here in Palm Beach County. He is with the Tenet Hospital Group and their physician services. Great young man, and he has offered to help me educate my community today about cardiac disease. Take it away, Dr. Waldo.
Everyone. So once again, I say good evening to you all. Now, one of what I like about the heart is that, well, first of all, everybody has one. And
That's true.
as everyone ages, the incidence or the risk of developing cardiac type of disease also increases. And it's the number one cause of death in the developed countries these days. The developed countries, including America, which is the one we live in. So as you go about and you look at the amount of people dying these days, recognize that the number one cause of death is cardiovascular disease, which includes things like heart attack and stroke and all its related complications. So, I've seen many different situations where people die from cardiac disease. I've seen the age range, ranging from like the early 30s all the way to the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s. So what can we do to improve the condition of our heart health? I'm going to talk about this for just a few minutes. And then after that, I'll see what the radio hosts have in store. We're going to be able to take a few questions from individuals. However, so the heart, definitely this is the organ that pumps blood around the body. The kidneys need blood, the brain needs blood, the muscles and all the other organs need blood. So the heart is tasked with the job of sending blood to all these organs to circulate it around the body. The heart also receives blood from some of the arteries that supply its own muscles with blood. When some of these arteries are blocked, that's what we consider to be a heart attack. When some of the arteries in the brain become blocked, that's what we call a brain attack, or the same thing we consider to be a stroke. The vessels, the vasculature, the vessels of the body go throughout all of the different organs, including the legs, the kidneys, and so forth. So if a vessel in the leg becomes blocked, that's when some people begin to get things like claudication, as you may see in some diabetics that may have lower extremity pain. And also sometimes it can lead to them getting things like amputation. It's the same vessels that's going through the entire body. It's the same set of vessels that the heart pumps blood through. That's what we call the field of study cardiovascular disease, because it's along a continuity. So the first thing I want to talk about is the diet. We should definitely follow a diet that is low in animal fat, a diet a little bit more closely related to a plant-based diet. Whenever we do meat, we always want to choose lean meat. And what's also very important is the way we prepare these foods. Things like if we're eating a chicken, say the chicken leg or so, you want to avoid frying, because frying in oil can significantly increase the caloric content or the fat content of food. So you want to choose methods of cooking such as broiling or baking or steaming or so forth. You want to avoid excessive amount of refined carbohydrates, and this may include things like the rice, the bread, the donuts, the pastas, the pizzas, and so forth. So somebody will say, well, if I'm not eating all of those, then what am I supposed to eat? A typical meal should really should have a lot of vegetables. That's going to include your cabbage, your carrots, your callaloo, your broccoli, your cauliflower, and all of those type of things. Not the refined carbohydrates. So, like, when you consider a Jamaican meal, we like to have about, half of the plate or 3/4 of the plate loaded with rice. That's actually the section that should be dedicated to your vegetables. So you really should be having a large amount of vegetables instead of the refined carbohydrates, or instead of things like rice or so. And not to say you can't have some rice, but it needs to be in a much smaller portion. We should certainly try to get some exercise every day. So we should watch the diet, avoid the refined carbohydrates. We should try to take in our calories more from solid food rather than drinking juices. And we should also get some exercise every day. Now, for the young individual who is able to walk, walking for 30 minutes to an hour a day, say 5 to 6 days a week, is a good amount of exercise. And some people are not able to do that amount of activity, so they really could cut it down to about 30 minutes a day, and they could increase the intensity. This helps you to regulate blood sugar. It helps to avoid excessive stress, and it helps to avoid depression. It helps you to sleep well, and it also regulates your body weight. So we want to follow a good diet, and we want to get some exercise in on a daily basis. Now, we also want to drink plenty of fluids on a daily basis, unless you have a condition that prohibits you from doing so. Certain conditions could include things like kidney disease or heart failure. So before you follow any one of these, you always want to consult with your primary care physician or a cardiologist first. But you want to drink about 4 to 8 glasses of water on a daily basis. For some, it's difficult to go all the way up to 8. 8 might be a little bit too much, but 4 and upward may be a good amount. If you work outside in the sun or in buildings that's really hot, where you're losing a lot of body fluid due to sweating, then definitely you're going to need more than 4 per day, and you may need more, close to 8 bottles of water on a daily basis. Now, you also want to get plenty of rest.
So, Dr. Waldo, I'm going to let you pause for a second because we're coming up on a commercial break. And then after we come off the break, you'll continue with what you're saying, and we'll have some of the callers call in or members in the studio to ask you if they have any specific question. So there you have it, guys. We have Dr. Oral Waldo on the line talking about cardiac health for us in our community. And this is what we're trying to do, educate our community. Quick commercial break.
Yeah, it's a program. I have a question to after Mr. Clarke. Okay.
We're coming down to it.
Get ready.
Okay, so we're Waldo, who is a cardiologist here in West Palm Beach. You know, being that it's Men's Health Month, he is talking to us about health, and he's not limiting it just to So we're back on, and you're back on live on the air. So you were talking to us about cardiac disease and what we should eat. So continue. The listeners are listening to you. Oh, by the way, Dr. Waldo, before you continue, I just want you to know that one of your patients is listening to you. I don't want to say her name on the air, but she said, "That's my doctor. Hi, Dr. Waldo." And then she said, "Mr. President, yes, he is awesome." Then she's saying, "JB at Jimmy call in." So you have fans out there, Dr. Waldo. You have fans out there. So continue telling us about how we protect our heart health and why is that important, and relate to our community, because I really like the part where you were talking about the food that we love to eat with the full plate of rice. So go ahead.
And one of the reasons why I'm speaking so broadly is basically because it's impossible to take care of the heart without taking care of the entire body. So if we're taking care of the entire body, chances are we're going to be taking fairly good care of the heart while doing so. And so, yes, we talked about diet. We should avoid too much animal fat, do a diet more closely related to a plant-based diet, reduce the amount of carbohydrates in general, do more fresh foods and vegetables, and we should also pay attention to the way we prepare the food. Particularly, we want to reduce the amount of sugar that we add to things, and we want to reduce the amount of oils and butter that we add to the different foods that we eat. We definitely want to get some exercise, 30 minutes to an hour per day. We should definitely watch our weight. Studies have shown that a woman's waist size greater than 35 and a man's waist size greater than 40 increases the risk of cardiovascular death. So we have to pay attention to the things that increases the risk of cardiovascular issues, because it's the number one killer of people in general in developed countries. When we're in Jamaica or when we're in the islands, we tend to walk a little bit further. We walk to different places to get different things done. However, in America, we kind of have the mentality where we kind of drive everywhere. We literally just drive across the street just to go get some things. So for that reason, we're not as active as we should be. So one of what we can also do is we could get something like a watch, any type of watch or any type of device that can monitor your steps on a daily basis. And if you're getting in about 8 to 10,000 steps a day, then you're doing good. If you're considering weight loss, then you're really looking at about 10 to 15,000 steps a day, and also reducing your caloric content. Now, you always want to establish with a primary care physician and develop a good rapport. See them fairly regularly so they can always look over your history and help you to reduce your risk. For some people who don't have a family history of coronary artery disease or heart attack or stroke, they tend to do a little bit better than people who have a long family history and don't pay attention. So if people in your family or have had heart attacks needing things like bypass or stents or so to survive, then you should definitely be screened for coronary artery disease earlier than the general population, and you may also need to take greater precautions than the general population. So certain other lifestyle habits that you can modify is avoid smoking or tobacco use altogether, avoid excessive alcohol consumption. If you're having on average more than just a single drink a day, then that is too much. And even just a single drink a day that in and of itself may be too much. But according to American Heart Association, if you're having, it is say less than 2 drinks a day for men and less than a drink a day for women, then you should be okay from that perspective. I always like to tell men, listen to your body.
Yes.
Because,
a lot of us men don't listen to our
I'm
bodies.
guilty of it myself.
Men don't like to go to the hospital or do appointments.
Symptoms until
Men listen
things
to
are
their
really
bodies.
out of control.
Men
So
listen
I
to your
usually
bodies.
like to
Go to
tell men, pay
appointments.
attention to your body.
Get the
If you're
cholesterol
developing
check. Get
things
the
like
prostate
chest
check.
pain or shortness of breath when you exert yourself, or
Men
you're
don't
getting
listen to
things
their
like
bodies.
lightheadedness or dizziness or so, then these could be things that are related to the heart, and it could possibly indicate that you have
Men can listen to
serious
their bodies.
cardiovascular
Go to
issues
appointments
that
and checkups.
need to be evaluated
medication
by
if you're on
a
medication.
specialist. So most of the time, if you eat well, drink well, avoid certain lifestyle habits like tobacco smoking and alcohol, follow with a primary care physician,
Yes.
and then
Avoid
also
tobacco,
develop a good
avoid
rapport so
alcohol.
that you can be compliant with the medicines. And if the
Moderation.
medicines aren't working
See
out,
your
you can
physician.
always
Get
set
your
up a
daily
visit to
checkup 6
discuss
months a year.
alternatives.
Every
If
2
we can
years.
do these things, then this will definitely significantly reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease that's affecting
We need to
our
reduce the risk of
population. And as men, you know,
cardiovascular
we
need to go
definitely
get your
should,
checkup,
you know, as they
check
say,
your
the head
heart,
of
get your blood pressure checked,
if you
blood
believe
check.
in that, we should definitely try to set a healthy example for the household to follow, so that the kids can follow, you know, become healthy and pay attention to their body, so that they could live long, lead a robust and productive life, and still enjoying the benefits thereof. Because if you don't have good health, then eventually all that you work for, you know, you kind of have
Exactly.
to just
You need health.
watch
Health is wealth.
everything
Health
as
is wealth.
you buy. So I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to take up all the time. I know we may have some questions that I need to answer. So
Absolutely. So, Dr. Waldo, like you said, health is wealth, ladies and
Health is
gentlemen.
wealth.
I'm going to have you call in. It's 561-449-8000. 561-449-8000. But we have two questions in the studio. So, Pastor Clarke, I'm going to have you go ahead with your question first.
My first question is simply this. We're raised, I lived in Jamaica, and you're right, or we exercise more. I used to walk to school, and, you know, even though we ate pork, but we exercised, fresh air, you know, all around us. And now migrated to America at 16. You're right, we drive more, and our diet has changed. It's now processed food. We are encouraged to eat sodas. We're encouraged to eat fast food, and the way of the American lifestyle is fast-paced. So then if you at work, mama is work, nobody's there to cook. So you come home with fast food, McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, and you are feeding your children, and then you take them to the doctor. The doctor said that they have this and they have that, and then you have certain conditions, but then you're looking at a doctor and say, well, the American commercial says that's good for us. We're in a fast-paced society. We need to grab the fast food. We need to feed our kids, get back to work. So what's your solution, sir, to this fast-paced society that we're living in? Yes. All right. Yes.
Doing some research, and it was saying that non-white people in America, about a third of them have metabolic disease, which is a combination of diseases now, and it's getting a bit critical and serious now, where the government even here and abroad, especially for non-white people, is looking at it very seriously, because they're finding out it's not just one sickness. Metabolic syndrome is called. And what do you have to say about that, sir? If I infer what you're saying correctly, and based on my reading, if one sickness contributes to 5 different things, then maybe, this is my opinion now, it's coming from a higher level. Maybe it's coming from the brain. The brain is not getting certain nutrients which contribute, in my opinion and research, is contributing to metabolic disease, because as far as I read, 2 out of 5 of these things listed could be considered, 3 out of 5 could be considered metabolic syndrome. So it leads me to think it's signaling from the brain to, lack of a better word, weaken these areas or organs. So I think it's a more on a higher level than the, say, the high blood pressure or the diabetes or the pancreas itself. Then. So it's more of a brain function. Let me hear what you think, sir.
Just to make sure that we're on the same page, because I definitely agree with you if it's what I think you're saying. So what we're realizing is that certain things like hunger and excessive appetite is coming from the brain. So in people who can control their urges, they're able to eat healthier. In people who are able to motivate themselves to exercise, they're able to go exercise and do better. So yes, we do think that the brain helps to control a lot of this, because doing the right thing is coming from the brain. So in that sense, if that's what you're talking, yes, definitely it is something coming from the brain. What we do realize is that people who have a stronger willpower, a person who decides I'm going to get up and go exercise, a person who decides that an obese lifestyle is not for me, people who can have that type of mentality, they can definitely do better. And we do know that the body secretes certain neurotransmitters and certain hormones that, can definitely cause you to become obese. It can cause you to want more urge to move less and stuff like that. So yes, if that's what we're talking.
Yes.
Okay, so along the lines of
bunch of other diseases in your body.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it from Dr. Waldo. I know someone was trying to call in. If you want to call in again, it's 561-449-8000. So Dr. Waldo, in our community, we have the challenge of food desert. And as Pastor Clarke had mentioned, running and getting McDonald's and Burger King because of a busy lifestyle. But with the food desert situation, typically in our community and metro areas, you may not necessarily have, urban areas, you may not necessarily have grocery stores that will provide fruits and vegetables. What you have in some of our communities are corner stores that have the junk foods, the sodas, the pops, the things that are not necessarily healthy for us. And I'm sorry, Dr. Waldo, I just have to go there because everything I do surrounds itself with advocacy. But, and I completely understand your standing in the community where you're on the treating side of these things. But to my legislators out there and, persons out there making decisions on where farmers markets should be or grocery stores should be, this is definitely an impact on our community when we have food deserts. You think of downtown West Palm as an area because this is our target area. I remember when the Publix went down, but it went down because City Place came. If not, when I lived on that side of town, my closest public supermarket was the Publix in the village. And I'm saying Publix because if you don't know, I'm just a
Public supermarket.
I'm just, it is just.
Is it not Walmart?
Speaking from the Walmart representative, but it's one of those things, I grew up shopping in Publix, so it's one of those things. But even when I lived on the east side of town, before City Place came, I would have to go all the way to Village in order for me to go to Publix. And I don't recall having a grocery store over on that side that I could go get fresh fruits and vegetables. So you think about those persons who live in those communities that may not necessarily have transportation and have to walk to their closest grocery store. Those persons are going to the corner shop that have the beer, the wine, the candies, the sodas, the chips. You may have some bread, you may have peanut butter, but you're not going to find fresh fruits and vegetables, which is something that I think from a social determinant section is also affecting our cardiovascular health. I have a caller that's calling in, so I'm going to take the caller because they probably have a very good question for you. Caller, go ahead. You're live on the air.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. You're speaking to Dr. Waldo, so do you have a question for the doctor?
Yeah, basically, what a statement actually. The 3 meals a day. I think it's a commercial advertising to sell breakfast. So you don't really need a heavy breakfast and a heavy lunch and a heavy dinner.
I agree.
Right? You basically need fruit in the morning, water, and a cup of tea, whatever, and then you eat a light lunch and eat because your body can't break down all the food. You have 8 hours a day to work, and then you go to bed at night, and your body is constantly working to break down the food. That's where problems come in my opinion, and from research shown and watching different videos about eating and eating healthy.
That's one. But eating 3 meals a day, 7 meals a day,
That's too much.
I think that's great, and wear and tear in the body and the digestive system. What are your thoughts?
What we're finding is that we're consuming way more food than the body needs to function these days. We're actually eating for comfort. By the time we've consumed a meal, the amount that we really need to function was about a third to a half of that meal. We actually just had the rest of it just to basically feel good. And yes, you're correct. What we recommend is that the largest meal of the day should not be dinner, because then you go ahead and you lay down with that food in your stomach and it just becomes fat on your body. So we usually recommend that whether it be breakfast or lunch, those be one of those be the biggest meal of the day, and then dinner, since you're gonna go and lay down with the food in your stomach, or you're not gonna be as active, to be a little bit less. We also recommend people having the food earlier in the day so that they could break down as much of it before they go to bed. But yes, you are correct. You do not need 3 large meals for the day. Just 1 or 2 of the meals need to be bigger. The other 1 or 2 needs to be definitely lighter. What I should also mention is that people should try to avoid drinking their calories, whether it be fruit juice or any other type of juice that they purchase. They should probably try to stick to water. And if they're going to have the fruit as a meal, then that's a better thing rather than drinking the juice that's loaded with artificial sweeteners or even just the regular sugar itself.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen out
That's
in
a very good
Radio
point.
Land, there you have it.
Take care of
We
your
have
health.
with us today, giving us cardiac health information, good health information, Dr. Oral Waldo. As I stated before, Dr. Oral Waldo is a member of the Jamaica diaspora. He's a Claridonian, a Clarendon College man, first chiropractor. But in addition to that, Dr. Oral Waldo completed his cardiovascular disease fellowship at the Mayo Clinic and graduate medical education located in Scottsdale, Arizona. Dr. Waldo also completed an internal medicine residency at Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. He graduated medical school from Howard University College of Medicine, Washington, D.C. During his residency and fellowship, Dr. Waldo presented his cardiology finding nationally at Medical Association meeting and had his cardiovascular disease research published in peer-reviewed journal. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our very own Dr. Oral Waldo giving us information on our cardiac health. This is so very insightful. I'm sure a lot of you tried calling in, but we were unable to take all of your questions. And this is going to be an open invitation for Dr. Waldo to come back again on the show. He is now going to be a regular. So Dr. Waldo, thank you so very much. The intent of this show is to educate our community. In our last final 2 minutes, Peter, do you have any final words to say?
Yes. In addition to Dr. Waldo, I would like to suggest we eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, cayenne pepper, garlic, ginger, fresh things we use from the Caribbean, so we can cut down on our cholesterol and our heart problems. What do you have to say, Dr. Waldo?
All right. And then Pastor Roderick Clarke is also here in the studio. Pastor Roderick Clarke is running for Port-au-Palm Beach, seat 3. Pastor Clarke, final words. 1 minute. We have 1 minute left.
This is great. I'm looking forward to coming back.
Speak in the mic, Pastor Clarke.
This is great. I'm looking forward to coming back, and that is clarkforport.com. And remember, I'm for the people. I don't have a primary, so I'm going to be there in November. Please contact me, and we can win in this year, 2024. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, from our guys that are not here, Dr. Francis and Mr. President, don't forget to go on the Reason with Rattigan show tonight to listen to the first biennial diaspora conference. And for those of you, I am going to drop in the super chat on SupaJamz as we're talking about food. There is going to be a food drive that is coming up. I'm going to drop the information in the super chat. I dropped it in last week. It's going to be Saturday, June the 22nd They have 3 locations, one in West Palm Beach, one in Belgrade, and one in Delray Beach. It's been done by a number of organizations. The food will be there until we run out. Till next time, thank you so much for being a loyal listener of the SupaJam Radio. Good night.
Thank you.